Hello everyone, I'm Deneen Matsuda, and today we're going to be doing a place value game. But first, I wanted to see if you did your post-it assignment to see how your students are feeling about math. I did mine in the first week of school, and I'm so excited about them. I wanted to read some of them for you. I think that I can do math because I can figure out the answers and get them right. I feel I can do it. And then he proceeded to show me what he can do. I personally love math most of the time. I'll get it fast, but sometimes I don't have a clue. I love math, Mrs. Matsuda. I feel extremely confident. I want you to challenge me, please, in all caps. How interesting. This student wants to be challenged. Oh, yes. Buckle up. Jordan wrote, I feel pretty confident with math. It's easier for me for several reasons. 1, my dad teaches math and is a human calculator. It's true. 2, I pay attention. 3, I practice. I think we need 2 and 3, paying attention and practicing on a bulletin board somewhere, Jordan. Thank you. It's hard and it's easy. It's in the middle. I feel okay at math. I'm definitely not the best at math. I think math is just not my thing. I feel like I'm bad. It's mad with an exclamation mark. Sometimes I don't get it perfect. It's hard to explain and answer in my brain. I am not confident with math. I don't think I am a math person because I never really feel confident. I don't know why. I don't like math at all, and I struggle with it. But my grade is an A, but I don't know why. Can you help me? This year we did something differently. I think it's because of the trauma of being online for much and part of last year. We had something called a meet and greet, a school-wide meet and greet a few days before school started. And it was a bit challenging for me, for one, just to be around so many people at once. And it was in the time when we were still, do we mask, do we not mask? I wasn't really sure. But I did want to meet my students and their families. But it was also hard because I had a lot of things that I needed to be working on. You know, getting my room ready, getting my lessons ready. But a student came to me with a letter that night. That night, when she came to meet me, she came with a letter. And it made the whole evening even more worthwhile. And I want to share that letter with you. I shared with you before that we had a step down day. Usually at our school, the students step up in the spring so they can get to know us. But because of cohorts and students couldn't be moving around, we teachers went down into their classrooms. And I chose a little hands-on math activity to do. So she remembered that. Let me read this to you. Dear Ms. Matsuda, I must tell you that I have heard very good things about you from many of your previous students. For that matter, I am looking forward to being in your class. I have seen you show kindness to others, and I'm sure I will love to be one of your students. I must say, though, that I still have a little trouble with addition and subtraction, especially underlined 2 times with number lines. I hope that you can help me with that problem, smiley face. From Step Up Day, I'm excited about your announcement on hands-on math. You see, I do not underline and in all caps not, like math on paper, on computer. But I can let hands-on math make an exception. Amazing, right? Like, I would have gone to meet and greet every night for a week just to get something like this from a student. Our math books, my math books, have not yet arrived. And I am happily fine with that because I wasn't planning to use them for a while anyway. But if I'm completely honest with you, I'm hoping that my math books are in a container in the middle of the ocean somewhere, delayed for some, I don't know, customs issue, and they never arrive because I long to experiment and experience a year of rich, hands-on math activities sans a textbook. So we'll see if my dream comes true and they somehow get lost in the mail. But I do remember that place value is the first chapter in our math book. And so I'm ready to start introducing my students to place value and reviewing with them from what they have learned in the past. So I already have some place value games in my toolbox, but I wanted to see if there was anything new. And so I went to the source of all knowledge for us besides Pinterest. Teachers Pay Teachers. And sure enough, I found a set of games by Jennifer Findley, and it was only $4, and there were multiple games in the set. And I only had time, even though I stayed till 7 o'clock on Friday, I only had time to go over this one game and prep it. So maybe next week I'll explore some of the other games with you. But I wanted to show you this game on place value called Bump It. Look who I have with me today.
Hey.
It's Stanley, in case you haven't met him yet. I call him Wonderful Stanley. This game is a fantastic game. I love it. I haven't gotten to play it with my students yet. That will be first thing tomorrow morning. But there's a challenge part of this game that I just had a little trouble. And even though Stanley was playing it with me, I was having a little hardship understanding it. And so I said, Stanley, when we get to the challenge part, will you come and explain it to our friends? And he said, okay. And then I said, well, then if you're coming to do that, can you just explain the whole game? And he said, you're really getting lazy. And I said, well, so here,
So you didn't
teach us the game.
You didn't explain the game at all?
At all. Zero.
Do they even know the name of the game?
Yes, the bump game.
Okay, so the bump game has several playing cards, I guess. So this is
six different playing ones, all at
Oh,
different.
Did you explain that?
No, and it's
okay,
all at
so-
different levels, which is why I love it. Also,
So this says here place value A. So that it goes all the way up to F, and it's just a little bit different. So what the students, they pair up.
hold it.
They pair up together, and then they roll a dice, and let's say I roll it and I got this, which is what?
8.
8. So then you go to 8, and it says 3 is underlined. So what place value is the 3 in? That's 30, right? It's 38, but it's in the 30 position. So you look on the game piece here and look for a 30, and I see one right there. So I'll move one of these markers and I'll place it right there. Okay, and then the next partner would roll their dice, and
Do the partners share a board?
no, they have their own board.
Right. Okay.
So then-
so we each need our own board.
So this is, and then this is the other person's board here, and this board happens to be level B, so it's just a little bit more challenging. So I rolled a 6, so then I go to 6, and the 9 is underlined, so that's 9,000. So I have to go and read 9 is in the thousands place. So I look around. Where is it? I don't see. Oh, does this say 1,000? No, that says
Hundreds. Thousands place right here.
Oh, okay. It's backwards for me. So here, okay, so we will put the marker there. Okay, and you just keep playing, taking turns back and forth, rolling the dice, and you try to complete the entire 16 squares with your markers. And we are planning on using little beans so that it doesn't cover the words, so that we can still see what is being used up. Okay, and then if a student rolls a 6 again, obviously they'll lose a turn because that's already taken. except there's another thousands place here, so whoops.
If
Go
they
like that.
roll a 6 a third time, then they would lose their
Okay, so
turn.
that's what you do. You just go back and forth, and you take the sum of the dice, the two that you roll, and then you add them together, and then you follow what place value in this column, and then you try to match it to the game board over here, and the goal is to cover all 16 spots.
But we don't have to have the same board when we're playing together.
Correct.
So it's differentiated in that regard. Like, look how simple this one is. This is just finding the place value with the numbers. This one is finding the place value with the words. Every board has a different theme.
So this is board C, and so now everything is expanded out. So this 36,542, you'd have to find that written out in expanded form. Okay?
So you can even have one of your advanced students playing happily with a developing student. I love that about Jennifer Findley's game. Good job, Jennifer.
Okay, now when they get advanced enough, you can add an additional rule to the game where, let's say, so this one was on we rolled an
8.
8, and that was on 30, so then that's over here. Okay, so let's say the partner who's playing against this board, they roll, and their dice comes up to be an 8. So what they can do is they can go ahead and look at 8 on their board and cover up this spot for 50, the 50,000s and 10,000s place, so they can cover up the 10,000s place. But what they can do, which is the bump, is they can look at their opponent's board and look for their 8, and if their 8 is covered over here, so that's a 30, they can steal this, which is the bump, and then they place it on their board at 50,000, which is in the 10,000s place. Where's 10,000? Right here. And that's a steal. That's the bump.
Is that a little confusing for you? It was a little confusing for me. I'm not going to teach my students that for a while, but I think they'll love that feature.
Okay, and then after they get used to doing the bump and stealing, there's this thing where, let's say they rolled the 8 and they got the 30, right? And then remember when they rolled the 8 again, we said, oh, they lose a turn. Well, actually, they can place another marker on the same square, which means if you have 2 markers, that second marker prevents the bump from happening.
It's protection.
So when the opponent rolls an 8 and they look over here to steal, they can't steal this because it's being protected by the second marker. Mm-hmm. All right, so then that's another strategy is, oh, do I want to protect my marker, or do I want to protect my marker, or do I want to cover up my other 30? So the goal, remember, the goal is to cover as many squares as you can, as fast as you can, but then your opponent is going to be trying to steal. So then do you want to protect it, or do you want to go for the win?
Strategy.
So that's a fun strategy to play.
Should we show them some of the other boards? We showed them A, B, and C just so they can see how advanced they get.
This is the D board. Okay. So this time it's reversed, so it's in expanded form, and here it's in numeric.
Expanded word.
Yeah, expanded word form.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then this is board E. Okay, so here is the numeric version, and then this is expanded in numeral form. And then board F. the number, the place value being underlined, and so you have to match it up with the correct
I
value.
think the numbers
in
are
this
just bigger on this board because they're all
So let's see.
they go up to 100,000. I guess they all go up to 100,000. It's just a different way, just a different board. Now, what I did to prepare this game, I initially planned on copying these. You know, I did multiple copies of each board, and I tried to color.
You know,
Oh.
I think this. I'm looking at this board since I don't have the directions in front of me. I'm looking at board F. Board F looks like you are rounding to the place value that's underlined. So if this is underlined, this is 796,543, and if 7 is underlined in the 100,000s place, you look at the 10,000s place and it's 5 or bigger, so you're going to round up. So you're going to look for 800,000, and that is right there.
So I just have to make sure I've taught all
Rounding,
of these
this would be
skills.
rounding.
I'll have to make sure I've taught all the necessary skills for each board. But that's my favorite way to teach, is to teach a concept and then we do an activity with it rather than a piece of paper. Because do we really fall in love with math by doing worksheets? You know, worksheets, I suppose, are a necessary evil, but here they get to actually practice doing the games. So what I attempted to do was copy these all on different pieces of different colors of paper. Like, you know, the A boards were all, I put yellow, and then the B boards, I put blue paper. But wouldn't you know, I didn't press, like I did the whole thing. And I never checked to see what was coming out of the machine, which was all white. And what I failed to do is press the tray button number that does colored paper. So I ended up with all these whiteboards, and I couldn't bear to waste the paper. So then what I did is I just got construction paper and I mounted them, and I'll finish gluing them tomorrow. And I thought about laminating them, but you know, I'm trying to use as little plastic as possible, so I'm not going to laminate them. We're just going to begin and play until they fall apart, and we'll see how long they last. But I'm so excited to play the bump game tomorrow. And I won't, of course, introduce all the boards tomorrow. I'll just start with, I think, level A and B for tomorrow. But Stanley has some pet peeves with we elementary teachers in regards to place value. And so I asked him if he would share with us a little information that will be useful as we teach these concepts.
So on the bump game, these are just whole numbers, right? It's not the decimal place values. But so when we talk about decimal place values, when I taught at Crafton Hills College, I would say to the students, okay, so when you write these numbers in expanded word form, the decimal point is read and. You say the word and. So if it's $35.75, and yeah, it's okay if some people say $35.75. Okay, it's not a big deal. But when you write it in expanded word form, you have to use the word and. And so the pet peeve that I have is when you get these formal wedding invitations, and let's say you get an invitation for a wedding next year, nobody writes down the wedding invitation 2022. It's always expanded word form. And some people write down 2022. Okay, so that's basically saying 2000.22. Okay, and the only place you would do that is if you're on Star Trek and you're the captain and you're doing a Stardate log. Okay, nobody does. That's just a pet peeve. Okay.
I know in my class, my students will want to say, 4,685. And so that's another place where we can catch that, nip it in the bud, so that they are learning when we get to decimals that and is what demarcates the decimal. Well, thank you, Professor Stanley, for your insight on place value. And we're going to close now until next week with a reminder. Do you want me to say the first part and you say the second part?
You can say both parts because I did the whole bump game.
Okay. We want to remind you that you are a math person and you are enough. Goodbye.
Bye.